What is going on, y'all, and welcome back to Offroad Outlaws. Now, I've been getting a lot of comments lately asking that I talk more about the next Offroad Outlaws update. Unfortunately, we haven't really gotten any more info from the developers at this point in terms of what the next update is going to look like or what it's going to have. We haven't really seen many clues as of lately, and I know that a lot of people are kind of getting a little bit restless in terms of details about the next update because, again, I've gotten a lot of requests lately to talk about it, which, in a way, is good because it means that the community around this game is still very involved and still very, very active. Now, I've done a little bit of digging into the community to see not only what my community has been talking about, but what people in just the greater Offroad Outlaws community in general have been talking about in terms of what they want in regards to the next update. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that, and we're also going to talk about a few other things that I feel are relevant to Offroad Outlaws, but that we may not have touched on too much just yet. So without any further ado, let's dive into all of that. Now, starting off with some more requests from my community, I know that some people might hear me say this and go, oh my god, we've heard enough about this. Can we talk about, another feature request, please? But I think it's important to mention this one, especially right here at the top, because it's something that is on the minds of a lot of people in the community, and that is that a lot of people want more options for sounds, especially diesel sounds. Now, again, some people have asked for, quote-unquote branded sounds, like I want to be able to switch between the sound of a Cummins and a Duramax and a Power Stroke. I obviously don't think they would do any kind of branded sounds, but I'm sure they could get away with, being a little bit fiddly in terms of the sound names, like, say, for example, Diesel Sound 1, Diesel Sound 2, Diesel Sound 3, and make those sound similar-ish to some of the real-world engines. I also recently saw somebody suggesting drone racing, which is completely out of left field, completely something I have never seen suggested before, and if anyone has suggested it besides the suggestion that I saw, I haven't seen them, and it doesn't seem to be a very popular suggestion, but nevertheless, it's creative, and I don't know if it's something they would ever do, but the fact that someone even brought it up actually legit shows that people are really thinking outside the box in terms of the fan base of this game. Another suggestion that I saw was tire pressure and the ability to change the amount of air that you have in your tires. Now, obviously, this is a very common thing in real-world off-roading. You come up to a trail, you air down your tires a little bit, you do your trail, you air them back up to drive on the road again. It's something that a lot of people do, and it obviously helps with traction and grip off-road, although I don't know if it's something that Offroad Outlaws would add, specifically because it's such a small, well, I say a small detail. It's not small in terms of real-world details, but I think in the greater scheme of Offroad Outlaws gameplay, I don't know how much it would affect the game itself, and they might have to add in a little bit more to the physics system in order to make tire pressure changes actually functional, because you're talking about dynamically adjusting the grip level in the tires, unless they were to do it as a purely visual thing, which I don't really think would have much point to it anyway. And plus, when you think about something like how much work would need to go into implementing tire pressure changes, I feel like a lot of people would rather see them add like more customization options or more vehicles rather than adding in the ability to change tire pressure. I'm not saying it's a bad suggestion. I think it's a wonderful suggestion, but I don't know if it's something that the broader community would really latch onto, but I could be wrong on that, so please do chime in on that in the comments below. Another set of suggestions that I've been seeing a lot, especially from my Australian viewers, is adding vehicles like the Land Cruiser 79 series, for example, or Nissan Patrols. And I think that sort of grouping of vehicles, those really popular kind of Aussie four-wheel drive style vehicles, I think they would be really well received in Offroad Outlaws. I just don't know if they would be something the development team would focus on adding. I'm not saying that they are a bad choice at all. I think they're great vehicles. I mean, obviously, a lot of people love them, a lot of people drive them, and they're very, very, very popular in terms of Aussie off-roading. And I think they would fit into the game really, really well. I mean, there's actually some themed maps that they would work really well in as well. So you never know. I don't know if I would hold my breath for them to be added in the future, but at the same time, I wouldn't count them out completely. Now, on my last Offroad Outlaws update discussion video, there was a chain of comments that I found really, really interesting because on the first comment, I read it in, like, I read it quickly, and I was like, oh, but some of that's already in the game. And actually, someone replied to that comment and said the same thing. But when I read deeper into the original comment, I realized that what they meant was actually something else. And so I'm going to read this chain of comments to y'all so y'all can see where I'm coming from. Now, and just so y'all know, the comment chain, or rather the back and forth that I am about to read, is between Drew Destroyer 924 and Jonathan McDonald 1367. So just so y'all know, and thank y'all for your discussion. Now, Drew Destroyer begins by saying they need to add single cab, crew cab, and mega cab options. They should also have long bed, regular bed, and short bed truck options. And lastly, you should be able to make your truck dually or non-dually. Hopefully this makes sense. And then Jonathan McDonald replied, hey, they already have the option to put dually tires and fenders on your truck, but I think that being able to change the cab and bed design would be really cool. And I'm paraphrasing, of course, and then Drew goes on to say, I know they have dually and fender customization, but they should put all of those options that I stated in the original comment on the sort of dealership screen. They say after sale screen, but I think they mean dealership. And they say, then you should customize your truck and all of the fun stuff on a different screen. Hopefully this makes sense. And Drew actually said, if this doesn't make sense, here is a full itemized breakdown of what I mean. Like, Drew went full, like, I am giving a presentation mode. So, screen 1, you buy your truck. Screen 2, or rather, you choose the truck you want to buy. Screen 2, you choose whether you want it to be a mega cab, a regular cab, or a crew cab, and then dually or non-dually, and then you choose whether you want, like your different bed options, your tire options, and then screen 3, then you get to the customization options that are already in the game. And then they say, for example, the F350 that's in the game, or rather the F450 that's in the game, you can't remove the dually fenders. They're static. They're just there. They go on to say that they would like to be able to make that truck, for example, a non-dually. So where you can add dually fenders to a lot of other trucks in the game, they make a really good point by stating that trucks that come with them right off the bat, you can't remove them. So it would be really nice to get those options kind of added to and sort of changed up a little bit. Now, this next point that I'm about to talk about was actually posted in a Offroad Outlaws Facebook group, and because it was an Offroad Outlaws Facebook group, I'm going to leave the person anonymous that posted it just for their own privacy. But they've said they would like, say, for example, the ability to remove the top off of Jeeps. They would like to see newer Jeeps like JKs, JLs, Gladiators, things like that. A Comanche as well, which would be really, really cool. The ability to stretch your frames, or rather to stretch the whole vehicle in general, and also different exhausts that create different sounds that you get to pick between, which, we already talked about back in the beginning of the video, like, for example, Cummins, Power Stroke, etc. Different engine sounds like that, because I do agree, and I've seen other people talk about this, and this is from, like, different comments, not this particular one, but different comments as well. I've seen some people say that while the diesel engine option sounds like a diesel at idle, once you start to rev it up, it starts to kind of sound like a gas engine again, which I haven't really thought about it as much, but when I actually, like, listened in and really thought about it, I was like, you know what? It kind of does start to sound more like a gas engine again once you actually rev it out. So it would be nice to have that sound either kind of be able to be changed or refined a little bit more. And really, as time has gone on, I've noticed a lot of trends in terms of what people seem to want for Offroad Outlaws. And the things that I see constantly appearing back up on top of the pile are pretty much people wanting the ability to adjust the sounds of their vehicles, people wanting the ability to choose the size of the vehicle's cab and select between, single cab, crew cab, mega cab options, things like that. The ability to have a choice in bed options and bed sizes, and then, of course, vehicle suggestions. So really, at the end of the day, what seems to constantly end up at the top of the pile is people want more choice in terms of customization. And I think that that's That makes sense, because in any game where you're going to have customization to begin with, people are always going to want more customization options. They're going to want more choice, and I'm all in support of that because, you know, the more customization options and choices you give people, the more ability they have to build the vehicle that they truly want, rather than, say, for example, compromising with paint color choices and things like that. Like, for example, with the Tundra that you see on screen right now, the whole reason why the bedsides and fenders are painted a different color than the truck and sort of highlighted in a lighter color is because I was going for a little bit of like a pre-runner theme where they have a painted body, but like it's a work in progress, and so the fenders haven't been painted yet. And that would be cool if we could get, you know, like Baja style fenders for these trucks, but that's not really an option right now. But if it were to be an option, I would definitely jump on it. And these, you know, they're more like cutaway fenders, kind of like you would do on a crawler, so they get you 3/4 of the way there, but not fully there. And so I know that, you know, people's want for customization options won't be fully satisfied. Like, people are always going to want more options, more options, more options. But I think what's interesting about Offroad Outlaws is that we almost always see the same suggestions sort of rise to the top of the pile. So let me know what y'all think about anything and everything that we talked about there. And as always, leave your suggestions and things that you would like to see in the comments down below. That's going to do it for this video, though, and I'll see y'all next time.